want you guys to introduce who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm Jazz. I am a social and content manager at Slate. Slate is an American startup that's been going for around 3 years. But also I do freelance, so I'm a freelance consultant, content creator, strategist, and everything in between.
Hi, I am Sophie Poduval-Morrell and I am the Future Faces manager. Future Faces is the largest young professionals network in the region, and it's also the fastest growing division of the Greater Birmingham Chamber of Commerce.
Amazing. And yeah, as I've mentioned, my name is Belinda Kaur. I'm a youth mentoring manager. Just like the lady at the back as well, I'm just doing so many different things in complete different industries. I also work in branding, and I'm also kind of a motivational speaker. So that's a little bit about us. But as I mentioned to you guys earlier, you know, personal branding is really, really important. And I want the ladies to share why they think it's important.
Okay, I'll go first. Personal branding for me, I kind of fell into it. Let's go back 3 years, lockdown, everyone's on TikTok. I found the opportunity to create content on TikTok about social media marketing, how brands can use social media marketing, any tips and tricks that they can use to leverage social media. And I started to gain attraction from that, and that's actually how Belinda found me. And then, you know, I didn't start TikTok to generate leads and generate business and people to contact me, but it did. And then from that, I was like, oh, okay, I kind of need to sort my LinkedIn out. I need to sort my Instagram out. I need to try and finesse things a little bit to make sure that everything is on brand. And that's how I managed to grow and maintain a personal brand. And that for me, like, I'm so passionate about personal branding now because everybody here has the tools to build a personal brand. The biggest way that people are doing it is through social media. We can only grow a personal brand because everyone has access to it. Everyone can jump on LinkedIn, everyone can make a video, everyone can make an Instagram. And the biggest benefit that I've had from actually growing a personal brand is it's validated me in terms of me as a person, the talent that I've got, the value that I can give people, but I've also managed to leverage it to create opportunities that I could never have dreamed of creating. So there's like 2 reasons why I think growing a personal brand is really, really important.
For me, if you'd have asked me this time last year what a personal brand was, I would not have been able to answer this question at all. It's a really big part of my role, what I do now, but to me, I think personal brand is that unique combination of how we choose to present ourselves. So it's how we dress, it's how we talk, it's what opinions and what value we bring to the table. It's no longer, we no longer live in a world where personal brand is just, oh, my name's Sophie and I work for the Chamber. I think since COVID, there's been a lot of boundaries that have been pushed. And actually, you know, I would never have dreamed of wearing a pair of trainers to something like this today. But we've sort of pushed the boundaries in terms of fashion, and we are now able to, you know, bring our personalities to work. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
No, definitely. I love them. I just believe, you know, when it comes to building a personal brand, it's like having a CV. You know, before we had to send our CV via email, pick a little snazzy subject, but now it's in everything we do. When we stand and we talk to people at events, when we're on social media, when we're posting things, it is all our CVs. And that's what we're doing, is we're trying to build our CV. So the next question I have for you guys is, who should have a personal brand?
From seeing what is possible now on social media, it looks like anybody can have a personal brand. I have come across mortgage advisors on TikTok, accountants on TikTok. I've come across any type of profession you can imagine on TikTok. And these are people who, again, didn't think about growing a personal brand. Like, their business is their brand. When in actual fact, if you've got your own business, people want to buy from you. They want to connect with you as a person, not necessarily your logo or your brand colours or your brand message. You are your brand message. What was the question again, Belinda?
So who should have a personal brand?
Who should have a personal brand? I think it's really possible for anybody. And if you are someone who is unsure if there is space for you, do some research, jump on LinkedIn, search in your industry, see if there's anyone that is a top voice in your industry on LinkedIn, have a look on TikTok, Instagram, use that search function and see if there are other people out there that are doing what you would like to do, and then see how you can use their content or what they're posting about as inspiration to start your own personal brand.
I think we all have a personal brand, whether we realise it or not. I think personal brand is what you choose to present to people, as opposed to reputation, which is something we leave behind. I think personal brand might be more important for people who are in a leadership position or maybe more client facing. You might want to sort of look at your personal brand and look at strengthening it. But whether you like it or not, I think we've all got a personal brand.
No, definitely. I would agree with both. Social media is accessible to every single person. I have seen people on TikTok that you would not expect to have the biggest personal brand or biggest following, and they do. And the reason they do is because they're just being themselves. And that's what people want to see when it comes to having a personal brand. They don't want to see the fakery that, 10 years ago was wanted. You had to act a certain way. You had to be a certain level of professionalism, But now it's not like that. It's be who you are. People want to see people that look like them, that act like them, that dress like them. An hour ago I was wearing heels, but I thought, you know what? I'm talking about personal brand. I love to wear my Converse and be able to just do what I need to do. And that's me. Sometimes I'm wearing my heels. Sometimes I'm wearing my trainers. You don't know what version you're going to get. But that's who I am. And I think when you're able to just authentically be yourself and show that to people, that's when people, they relate to you and they want to see. Because I thought for a long time I had to act a certain way in order to be able to show people this is who I am. But once I just said, you know what, this is who I am. Some days I don't have good days. Some days I have fabulous days. When I'm just real, that's when the right people started coming towards my social media platforms. So I want to ask you guys, what are 2 things you would tell someone when growing their personal brand? What are some tips?
I think sort of similar to what you said, the main thing for me is about being authentic. There's no point in pretending to be somebody that you're not. Similarly to what Belinda's just said, I remember when I first started in the world of work, I wouldn't have dreamed of wearing a pair of trainers. I had to look a certain way. I had to be a certain way. I thought I'd got to be this really sort of quiet, sensible person, sit in meetings and, do as I was told. And that is so not me at all. I'm really outgoing. I'm really loud. I'm really, bubbly. As a child, I was always told, Sophie, you're so bossy and you're so loud. I think if I was a man, I'd be told I was charismatic and confident. But I think being myself, being authentically you, that's how you connect with people. And then I think the second thing is about actually talking to people like close family and friends that you trust and actually understanding what they think about you. Again, talking to family and friends, but people always say to me, oh, Sophie, you're the life and soul of the party. You're always smiling. You're always full of joy. You're funny. And actually leaning into that's what you're strong in. Talk to people. What do they think about you already? And lean into that.
It's going to be very similar, but it's too easy to try and do what everybody else is doing. So when you are authentically yourself, that's when you get buy-in from people. Social media now, everybody wants to connect with someone. They want to be entertained, they want to be educated, they want to feel like they have something in common with somebody, and that's the only reason that these personal brands are really, really growing. I mean, growing up, there was I previously worked in very corporate settings, and I didn't see anyone like me taking up space in the spaces that I wanted to take space in. And the only reason now that I feel like there is a younger growing generation of women of colour that are moving more into senior roles, marketing, the creative spaces, is because they are able to see other people like them, and they know that actually I can do it. And then the other thing I would say about if you're wanting to grow a personal brand is put yourself in uncomfortable situations. For example, today, I'm not the most confident. This is slightly an uncomfortable situation for me, but I know from this, I'm going to grow as a person, go to networking events. I went to one of Belinda's first networking events after COVID, and my social anxiety was through the roof. But from going to that, it really grew me as a person, and I felt more confident and able to do things that I want to do. If you want to post on social, that's probably the easiest thing, is first posting on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. The hardest thing is maintaining it, because it is so easy to like see a post and think, oh, well, I only got 3 likes. Or if you're posting a TikTok, oh, well, I only got 200 views. That's 200 people that have seen your video. That's 200 people that would not have seen your video if you didn't post it. So if you do want to do it, it may be uncomfortable, but start and then really try and maintain it and persist. And like I said before, have a look and see what other people are doing in your industry and use that as inspiration for content that you can then make.
Amazing. That's kind of led on to my one, which is don't focus on the likes and the followers. And, you know, for myself, I don't have a massive following or all the likes, but I get through the right doors and the right opportunities because I believe I show who I am. And that has kind of helped. So I know a lot of times we can look at a lot of people and they're getting all these likes and all these followers, but sometimes they're actually paid for. And I think sometimes we focus on that, like, okay, maybe our content isn't good enough, or maybe there's no point because people aren't engaging. But all it does is take for the right person to see what you're doing and to give you an opportunity that leads you to the next opportunity. So I think, yeah, not focusing on that. And I think networking, you know, networking isn't just in person. I know today we're in person and it's absolutely amazing because 3 years ago, we were all networking from Zoom. But we can utilize all different platforms, online, in person, network with people, engage with people. When you're meeting people at events, you know, don't just leave it here. Connect with them afterwards. Keep that relationship going. You know, to build your personal brand, it is about building relationships. And I know sometimes it can be hard because we all have our lives, we're all doing things. And, you know, to build relationships with every person you see is long. Like, it sometimes can be hard. Like, I just want to sometimes just scroll on TikTok or go to sleep. Not every day connecting with people, but connect with people, because you might think this person isn't worth connecting with because we don't really have anything in common. But that person, by speaking to them and connecting with them, may open a door for you or connect you with someone else that can give you an opportunity. So, you know, these young ladies, these amazing ladies have stepped out today, and it may feel uncomfortable, you know, but when you're doing something different, it's going to feel uncomfortable. During the pandemic, I remember I used to hate also showing myself online. And what I used to do was go live on Instagram randomly, have nothing to say, don't know what I'm going to say, but just put myself in front of the camera. And I thought, do you know what? This is just going to help to build my confidence, push myself outside my comfort zone, and just be able to cope in different situations. And from there, you know, I started doing different lives and just doing different things. And I think just taking that first step that feels uncomfortable when it comes to building your personal brand will help you in the future. And you'll look back in a year or two and think, wow, I'm actually glad I took that step, because look where I am now. And I think that's what everything is about, is growing. So stepping outside your comfort zone is a form of growth. So I want to ask you ladies, what is one thing that you've learned through your own personal brand? Any difficulties, or actually anything that you've learned when it comes to your personal brand?
I've learned that I can go far in life by just being me. I don't have to pretend to be somebody. I don't have to dress a certain way. I don't have to speak a certain way if I want to be successful. And there is nothing more validating than feeling like you're good at what you do just by being yourself. Like, when I start work, or if I'm working with a client, I don't have to like put this massive happy face on and act a certain way. They're coming to me because they've seen me as a person. They know how I am, they know how I act, they know how I work, and they know how I behave. And there is nothing more validating. Just to give some context to that, when I started TikTok, I was creating content. Some people may have found it silly back in the day, but then I think they're laughing now. And the job that I have now and all of the opportunities that I've had have come from me posting silly 15, 20, 30-second TikToks. And I just want to reaffirm like the power that you have as yourself by putting yourself online. I had a DM from this American guy on Instagram, and he was like, oh, hey, we've got this tech company we want to start up, and I really like your content. Do you want to join us? And then it was literally jumped on a Zoom call, and now I've been with them for 3.5 years, and then I've had other opportunities from that. So really, really, like, Belinda is passionate about this, and we all are, but really put yourself out there. People buy from people they like, and when they can see that you are genuine and authentic and they're you, there's something in yourself that is so validating and just nice to feel that people want to come to me because I'm just being me and I've got a lot of value to give. So yeah, that's one thing that I have taken away.
Amazing.
I think for me, it's just what I've learned about myself or my personal brand is don't let anybody steal your thunder. So I had an experience in a previous role where I was sort of told, oh, actually, Sophie, we'd rather you didn't wear that. And actually, if you don't really have an opinion on that. You just sit in the office and just we don't need to hear you what you think about that. And it really has taken me quite a long time to push past those feelings of being an imposter and am I important enough to be sitting here? Do I have a voice? Do I have an opinion? But actually, I'm now surrounded by people who support me, allow me to come up here and say what I want to say and do what I want to do. And I think it just comes back to what we were talking about earlier about being authentic, and it's about being yourself. I'm lucky enough to work for an incredible organisation called Greater Birmingham Chamber of Commerce, and we work with some fantastic businesses across our region, and I get to meet these people every day, and I know that they allow people, they're supporting women, they want diversity, they want inclusion in their businesses. Don't stay working somewhere or stay somewhere that doesn't see your value, they don't see who you are, they don't see your worth. There is a business out there. There are businesses in this region, or set your own business up. But there are plenty of space in the region that we live in that actually want to support what we're doing. So don't let anybody steal your thunder or clip your wings.
Amazing. These ladies are amazing. Literally, I'm sat here right now. I'm just learning so much from you guys. Absolutely love it. One thing that I would probably say is my brain has gone blank, but I would definitely say, really network and don't feel the pressure of other people to do certain things. Or, we look on social media, we see so many people who are, they're all posting this trend or all part of this. Then it's like, if you don't want to be a part of that, that is okay. Do you? And I think for me as well, I would also say, find out actually what you want to show people. What do you want to be known for? Do a little self-audit. Look at what you're posting. Ask people, when you look at my social media platforms, what do you think of? I like to do that quite a lot on my stories, and it's always changing every year, but it's how I kind of adapt to make sure that my content is fit for the right audience. So kind of, we like to call it content pillars. So kind of having your content pillars of what you want people to know you for. So that's what you post. So for me, my three content pillars are marketing, motivation, and mentoring. On my platforms, that's what I focus on. And then they're the piece of content that I will share. So by knowing what you want to share, it helps for people to know you for that certain thing. Does that make sense? Amazing. So what is one piece of advice you would give to another aspiring female looking to establish a strong brand?
I think be confident. I've learned very recently that confidence isn't something we're born with. It's actually something that we learn. And over time, we're told, oh, you're not important, or actually you're not very good at that, or you're stupid or whatever. And those are the things that stick in our brain. And actually we can unlearn those things. It might be more easy for some of us than others. But we can actually learn to be confident. It's something that we can teach ourselves. I know it's easier said than done, but I think the main thing is just to be confident.
I would say be kind to yourself if you are going to put yourself out there. Growing a personal brand, it isn't easy. You know, it can take time, and you may see people that are thought leaders in your space or are positioning themselves as experts, but they've been doing it for years. So if you are going to do it, manage your expectations, because I've been there where I've thought, oh, this is going to be amazing, and then I lose momentum, and then I just check out and I think, why did I do that? But be kind to yourself, be patient. Do it for the long haul. Don't do it for short-term quick wins. You want to really maintain and sustain a strong brand. But yeah, don't be too hard on yourself, and don't try and do too much and spread yourself too thinly, because that's when you're going to probably, again, get down on yourself and think, oh, why am I bothering? I'm not getting anywhere. And you don't want to burn out. Burnout is the worst, and that's when you do end up just checking out completely. So yeah, be kind to yourself and manage your expectations, and don't spread yourself too thinly when growing a personal brand.
Amazing. I'd like to add on from that is, just really taking your time. For me, back in 2021, I was trying to do the events, trying to work 2 jobs, trying to do this, trying to grow my personal brand. And I was just nonstop 7 days a week. And I got to a place of burnout where I couldn't do anymore. My brain was literally blank. I couldn't think. And by force, I just had to just take a step back. And if I had put in measures and different things to take care of myself and not feel I need to live up to everyone's expectations, I wouldn't have got to that place. But again, for myself, I also realized that everything happens for a reason. So it allowed me to kind of just restructure, rebrand, kind of find out actually who does Belinda want to be, not who everyone wants Belinda to be. Who does she want to be? So it really just kind of helped me to do that. So when kind of growing a personal brand, is there a particular platform or place or thing that you would kind of advise people to be on or do?
I would say it's industry dependent, and also what you feel comfortable doing. I know I talk about TikTok, but not everybody is comfortable being on camera, and that's okay. Don't feel pressured that you have to post TikToks and you have to be on camera and you have to talk. So I would, first of all, look at where your industry is most prevalent. Obviously, LinkedIn is always the first one, but because personal branding is on the rise, it's slowly starting to get saturated, and people are starting to having to think, okay, well, how can I stand out in my industry? But search LinkedIn and TikTok for me. Obviously, YouTube as well, but that is more strenuous on yourself because you have to create content, you have to edit content. So there's a lot of contributing factors that go into thinking about what platform you're going to go on. See where your industry is most prevalent, but also if your industry isn't prevalent on a particular platform, that's also an opportunity for you to then start content on that platform. And the other, what was the question again?
It's kind of what platforms or places or things would you recommend people to?
So I would say where your industry is most prevalent, and then what you're most comfortable, what type of content you're most comfortable creating. If it's LinkedIn, most of the content is written, so copy-driven content, with some videos that have started to come up in the feed now. So see where your industry is and what you're most comfortable creating.
Yeah, I think it's about where you feel comfortable, where you feel confident. For me, I use Instagram and LinkedIn mostly, but then also it's about networking strategically in the physical space. A lot of what I do is networking. I attend a lot of networking events. I host a lot of networking events. And I think it can be really, really easy to look at what other people are doing and think, oh gosh, should I be attending that event? Should I be spending time with those people? But actually, sometimes it is just about staying in your own lane and running your race. Don't worry about what that group of people are doing. You've got to be authentic to yourself, and you've got to understand and align with what your values are. So I think it's just important to know where you're going, I guess.
Be back. Yep, I'm back. I would probably say spend some time researching, just scrolling. I like to just spend some time just scrolling through TikTok. What are some of the content that I would like to create? What are some of the things that, catches my eye, so I can think, okay, how can I now utilize the things that I've researched to do these things? So have a scroll on TikTok. You know, it's not a bad thing. I know they say it's not good to scroll on TikTok, but it's actually good. It's good for research. That's what I call it. Instagram, you know, it was a great place. It's changed a lot over the past couple of years. It's a very confusing platform. But Instagram is always a great place to connect with people. I think it's kind of like a very informal LinkedIn. But I also do like LinkedIn as well, because I think you can connect with a lot of corporate people and you can get a lot of opportunities through LinkedIn. I think I've always got my biggest opportunities or speaking engagements through LinkedIn, because again, you don't know who is looking at you. And I would say, you know, one thing that's really good is to Google yourself. I know it sounds a bit self-obsessed, but I like to Google myself every now and again just to see what comes up, what's my ranking, am I quite high at the top, and just see if there's any weird things that people have posted. I did see a really weird news article that sounded exactly like me, but it wasn't me. And I was like, I need to get this. This needs to come off the Google. But Google yourself, have a little look. I think websites are classed as very old school, but I think they are very important. I built my website on, does anyone know Canva? Hands up if you know Canva. I absolutely love Canva. One day they're going to get me to speak somewhere. Love them so much. If anyone that works for Canva is here, come talk to me. But I use Canva to build my website. Very simple, on brand. If you kind of have a look at all my stuff, I'm always kind of wearing burgundy somewhere. But I like to kind of obviously keep everything on brand. Website's got all the information on there. People can sign me up for speaking engagements. It connects me back to absolutely everything. I just like to make sure that everything I do is a quick process for everyone and it's easy. So, you know, if you're going to go to my Instagram, in my link tree, you've got my email, my Instagram, everything that you can connect to. Make sure that when people find you, they can actually access you. But I've tried to contact people on Instagram, and it's took them like a month to get back to me. And I thought, you know, you say you want people to reach out for your services and do this and do that, but you're not getting back to people. And I understand people do have lives, but if you're going to promote something and say you want people to get in contact with you, you got to make sure you stay on top of that stuff. So for you ladies, what type of content do you think is kind of popping right now, or that people should be getting involved in and creating?
I know you've heard me say TikTok a lot today, but TikTok content, and it doesn't have to be dances or trends. They're just one way that you can try and tap in to a potential audience. But there is so much at your fingertips, and with a platform like TikTok. The biggest reason why TikTok is so successful is because as a business, it allows you to drive brand awareness, right? It allows you to tap into people that may be interested with you, and that's the only reason that people can reach so many people on a mass scale. So I would say TikTok is potentially the platform that is popping, the one which is easiest to grow to. You can use it to drive traffic to your LinkedIn page. You can use it to drive traffic to your Instagram, to any events that you've got, to your website. So it is a really, really good platform if you're wanting to grow.
I think for me, I don't necessarily see myself as a content creator. So I don't know if I feel like I'm eligible to answer the question. But I think for me, it's about just being honest. So I very recently have started doing sort of, day in the life of me reels on Instagram, just to kind of, this is what it's like to do my job, or this is what it's like to be behind the scenes. I think you've just got to be true to yourself, whatever it is that, you're about. You've got to do that.
Amazing. I would say, based on some of the other questions and other answers that we've given before, just in terms of obviously finding your own platform that works for you, but you can also repurpose content. So if you've got an Instagram and you're posting some stuff on there, you can repurpose the content for TikTok, or if you're posting videos on YouTube, you can take snippets and post them on TikTok. So you're reaching different types of audience, but with the same content. So I want to ask you guys if you have any questions for any of our amazing speakers around your personal brand or just personal brand altogether. Does anyone have any questions? Amazing. So just your name, what you do, and your question.
Do I have to really introduce myself? Okay. My name is Maya. I'm an employee engagement advisor at Birmingham City University. My question kind of came off the back of what Belinda had said about burnout and wanting to do all these things. What advice would you give to somebody trying to, I guess, identify what their personal brand is? Where do you start with identifying your personal brand?
I think identifying your personal brand, I think you need to, I would say if you're really struggling with it, it's talking to people that know and love you, people who are close to you, family, friends, colleagues, and asking them what they see in you. And then you can lean into those things. Sometimes we're not always confident enough to see those positive things about ourselves. I would say for me, I would genuinely say it's about just having fun and being joyful, and that's kind of a lot of about me, and I lean into that. I smile a lot. It's just something natural that I do. So actually, just lean into what you've already got. But if you're looking for somewhere to start, I think just talking to those around you.
Yeah, mine is again thinking about what the person that you are that makes you unique. Bring that to things that you're passionate about, things that you feel like you have a specialist knowledge in, and show it that way. I'm someone who, on social media, when I'm talking about social media, marketing, the industry, I'm very not cutthroat, I'd say, because that's a bit aggressive, but I say it how it is, and that's what people like. They like someone saying things that maybe they feel like they can't say, and that's how I've managed to navigate my personal brand and why brands have reached out to me, or they like that perspective that maybe not everyone has the space or the ability to say. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Amazing. Has that helped? Amazing. So, ladies, where can the people find you?
So you can find me LinkedIn. It's literally my name spelled like that. You can connect with me. I share a bunch of stuff about social media marketing. On Instagram, you can follow me at Jazveena, and on TikTok, Social Jazz.
You can usually find me at a Future Faces event because I seem to host them all the time. I'm also the host of the Future Faces Young Professionals podcast. It's a great podcast to tune into. I'm sure that many of you listen to some of the fantastic people like Stephen Bartlett, which interviews some incredibly inspiring people. I get the chance to interview those incredibly inspiring people in our region. They're people that you can access. They're people that you can reach out to on LinkedIn. And then I'm also on Instagram, so you can follow me. It's at Mrs. S. Morrell. So yeah, and I'm also on LinkedIn.
Amazing. Can we give them a round of applause, please? Thank you so much, ladies.